America, land of the free, home of the brave. A concept cemented by the literary prodigies of the past and maintained by their intellectual offspring of the future. A land of underdogs, hustlers, and pioneers. At its core are the mother and father of true American poetry, Walt Whitman, whose poetry made real the unification of this nation, gathering with a uniform hieroglyphic that grows across the country for us all. He wrote for the little guy, those who were rejected by the norms of society, and gave them a voice they would otherwise not have. Beside him, Emily Dickinson, whose words draw us into the reclusion and trap us in her isolation. Her unorthodox lifestyle and even more peculiar writings established her as an oddity among women as well as among intellectuals. Her revolt against the institution of marriage and the general patriarchy in her writings left a cleavage in the brain across the nation. Their contrasting identities would culminate in the forging of the great American writers that would come thereafter. In the East, there would be the likes of Robert Frost and F. Scott Fitzgerald, who paint portraits of American life in the cozy and traditional New England regions, as well as the American aristocracy that played out their elite lives in the New York gated communities. The picturesque scenes of idyllic American societies bubble with sinister themes just below the surface. The gentle flapper girls of the 20s transform into careless killers with their manipulative whims, and the small towns lining the eastern seaboard hide grim realities under the layers of glimmering snow. There is also the great Langston Hughes, who writes representing the city of Harlem and other urban jungles. He speaks with a voice that sings for the thousands who have been systemically silenced. In the footsteps and legacy of Walt Whitman, he preaches poetry for all who would otherwise be deemed unworthy of this power. Out west, Mark Twain captivates the world with the tales of the hillbilly boy and his unlikely friend, Huckleberry Finn and Jim, as they travel downstream into the South. Even though he is the youngest and least traditionally intelligent of our American protagonists, he proves his worth in gold as he is morally superior to all adults and other members of this twisted society. Decades later, Lorraine Hansberry's younger family faces prejudices of a systemically racist society. She depicts the harsh realities that many, if not all, Black Americans faced, their dreams being deferred due to the inequality of the institutions that they yearn for acceptance from. Between the two, they provide the ugly truth of the inherently evil undertones of white American society in each of their respective times. Down south is Faulkner and Hemingway, whose opposite syntactic styles of writing provide us with enthralling stories and also real representation of the South as time passes. In his writing, Hemingway projects his excessive masculinity and macho mannerisms in a flamboyant show, much like many of those from his lost generation. Also, like many from The Great Gatsby, they float haphazardly from place to place in parties and drinks to make up for the rest of their meaningless lives that were marred by war. Faulkner, his linguistic foil, uses the ideals of the past and the strict societal norms for women to present to us the good old antebellum Southern society, as it mutates into the industrial period in A Rose for Emily. Literary mastery from coast to coast, which portrays the nation's complex and ever-changing matrix of a society and culture. Together they make a roadmap for a nation that could all be yours. For the low price of $123,850,999,999,999.99. Shoo-wee, that's basically free! Come on down to Ethan's Bargain Bin. If you like what you've seen here, please call the number below to get your hands on your very own United States of America that for sure has no flaws or outstanding ethical issues. Definitely. Now that's what I call a steal, honey. Offer valid, limited time only, as seen on TV, only national debt not included, prices subject to change based on debt accumulation. Side effects may include but are not limited to headaches, drowsiness, fatigue, fever, constipation, diarrhea, dry mouth, insomnia, nausea or vomiting, abnormal heart rhythm, internal bleeding, and in some cases death. Call now
now to reserve yours today.